It's a Queens to Buffalo thing. What's good, y'all? It's your boy Mixtape Moth, and today I'm going to hit y'all with my thoughts on this new collaborative album from Meyhem Lauren and Daringer entitled Black Vladimir. So, Meyhem Lauren, he's a prolific Queens representative who has been putting it down since the mid-2000s. However, I first learned of him in 2012 by way of his Respect the Flash It album. At the time, I thought his vivid mafioso tales and rugged demeanor was a breath of fresh air, especially since New York hip hop was going through one of its many awkward transition phases. Now, over the years, Meyhem Lauren has collaborated with many great, well-esteemed producers like The Alchemist, Buck Wild, DJ Muggs, and Harry Fraud. But now he is linked with the sonic architect of Griselda, Daringer, for this brand new release, Black Vladimir. And given the artist that Meyhem tends to work with, combined with his love for more traditional East Coast instrumentals, it seemed this Griselda pairing was inevitable. So Black Vladimir contains 15 songs that last approximately 51 minutes. All the beats were crafted by Daringer. Now, as far as the features were concerned, he has Conway, Westside Gunn, Flea Lord, El Camino, Action Bronson, and Hologram. But with that being said, let me go ahead and just hit y'all with this track-by-track breakdown. This project opens with Black Pino featuring Action Bronson. It's set to a crunchy and aggressive beat with a soul assassins-like piano riff. It's dirty and in your face. Meyhem has the following comedic line: "Nobody wants your fucking bitch. She's like the middle seat." But he also shouts out some of his musical influences like Billy Dance and Lil Fame or M.O.P. Action Bronson did his thing as far as coming through with some pretty outlandish bars, but overall, it was a hard-hitting way to kick things off. Track 2, Broken Rubber Bands, has a piano-inflicted boom-bap beat that gives off that late-night cruising through the streets of Queens feel. Meyhem delivers 2 dope verses filled with sharp Kingpin imagery. I was getting somewhat of the War Report meets Royal Flush's Ghetto Millionaire vibes from the lyricism. Queens hustlers get bread, connects, trust us, chrome busters, the move, yay, got these lusting us. Then for song 3, airplane mode, Meyhem is in full braggadocio mode. This time he's calling out the cats who spend their last ends on trying to cop a Rolex while he's busy scheming on copping more condos. So no rappers, he is not like you. But this is backed by a bright and melodic mid-tempo beat that could have fit on any Fuji, Cypress Hill, or DITC projects from the mid-90s. After is Conflict Resolution, which contains one of the hardest beats by far. Here, Meyhem provides an array of coke talk, fashion brags, and battle bars over a chilly orchestral loop that sounds like 70s heist music. It's a beat that I can envision Raekwon killing as a feature for sure. It was just giving off those strong Cuban Links 2 vibes. Track 5 is Red Pesto with Conway the Machine. It's slightly more up-tempo with a grungy bass line and twinkling keys. Conway provides a solid verse as usual, but it was really Meyhem who I feel stood out more because of his vivid imagery and the references to his hometown of Queens. Like when he said, "Y'all always broke like the Coliseum escalator." Following this is Valedictorians, which is backed by what I consider to be the essence of hypnotic boom bap. It's an unmistaken Daringer production. On this record, Meyhem cleverly talks about how the hood turned everyone into fast learners. I also thought it was amusing when he said, "Do stand online to dress like I used to, getting retros, trying to look like me in high school." So Meyhem is letting us know that he's not new to this, he's true to this, as he's been getting fly since the 90s, kind of like me. Afterwards is Chicken Chinese, where we have Meyhem giving us more grimy QU talk, this time over a dungeon-like nocturnal beat. He raps, "My dude's known for blazing, will spit your dumb amazing and slide off playing some G-rap like it never happened." Meyhem has been known to shout out G-rap on occasion, which makes sense considering G-rap's the godfather of this mafioso lane. Track 8, Nigerian Vegetables, has a murky bass line and eerie organ harmonies, and it has more intricate crime rhyme bars and slick talk. Then there is the 2-part trigger point therapy with Westside Gunn. The first beat is definitively mid 90s. Gunn comes through with one of his more energetic performances in the last year. But I feel it was Meyhem who gives us his best lyrical performance on the whole album. It is here where his flow and pen game seem to shine the brightest. And the second beat is so Griselda sounding that it could have been on any of the Hitler Wears Hermes releases. Track 9, Raspberry Kush, with his brother Hologram, has another one of my favorite instrumentals. Daringer really went into his RZA bag, I feel, for this ghostly and spooky production. Meyhem was the obvious MVP here, which shouldn't really come as much of a surprise. Now, in fairness to Hologram, he is bound to have some witty, off-the-wall one-liners, but for a whole verse, he's rarely consistent. Still, in terms of the production, this is one of the standouts. The following, Lavish Vision, has this trance-inducing guitar loop that is the perfect backdrop for Meyhem's criminology rap. As he states, take a look at my thoughts, it's like a crime heaven. It's another effective song that I have zero complaints with. Next on Oversized Luggage with El Camino, we get the most unorthodox production yet. The chilling and warped strings feels like the soundtrack to Hustling in the wintertime. You're getting that cold corner music. It's a nighttime anthem, but Meyhem does drop the following jewel. Project Logic only keeps you in the projects. Worry about acquiring houses and stacking profit. Track 13 is Top Grain Leather with Flea Lord. Here are the two trade bars over a pretty harpsichord sample with dense drums. And Meyhem calls out the fake hustlers who consider themselves to be on that Scarface level, but they struggle to get a gram. And Flea's grimy voice contrasts nicely with this vintage and elegant instrumental. The second to last song, G-Talk, has a quirky jazz loop and distorted vocals on the hook. It's a serviceable song, but for some reason, my least favorite. It might be due to the hook. Then the album ends on a high note with Riding Dirty. It's Meyhem Lauren's ode to moving at work, and this is set to a soothing and dusty vocal loop that's easily the most soulful on the album. And it contains some of his sharpest hustling bars, like I once seen a stripper sniff the color off the Jackson. And it's that detailed kind of coke talk that hints that he probably lived that life prior to rap, or his imagination was just super vivid, but I'm gonna give him the benefit of the doubt. Overall, I'll give this project a rating of 4 mics. I would consider this to be Meyhem Lauren's most consistent and cohesive project to date. It's easily my favorite from his catalog. Sure, he has had really solid releases prior, but I feel Daringer's hypnotic boom bap soundscapes really brought out the best in Meyhem. And now, I'm not necessarily an expert in his catalog, but this would likely be the Meyhem Lauren project that I would recommend to someone. It's crazy because even though I love Daringer's punchy production throughout, I felt that a couple of the sparkling piano beats sounded a little too similar back to back. And with Meyhem, as good as he is as a lyricist, his braggadocious fly talk can be slightly repetitive, and it wasn't a big deal for me as I like this album, but I wouldn't have minded if he would have been more topically focused from time to time. But as a whole, this was a very hard-hitting and consistent release from top to bottom, especially if you value mafioso rap and traditional New York sounding production. My favorite tracks include Black Pinot, Broken Rubber Bands, Conflict Resolution, Trigger Point Therapy, Lavish Vision, Oversized Luggage, and Top Grain Leather. Let me know what you thought about this album in the comment section. It's your boy Mixtape Muff. I'm signing out, but be sure to hit that like button and please subscribe. As always, is peace and blessings. Meyhem Lauren, Daringer, Black Vladimir 1.